Welcome to the HTLL podcast. We are your co-hosts, Emily Hirata, Technical Advisor for Health and Nutrition,
and Tino Movuti, Technical Advisor for WASH.
In today's episode, we will be changing things up from our normal format. Instead of discussing a technical topic or approach, we will be taking an in-depth view of what it's like to be a young professional in our industry, as well as thoughts and perspectives on how ADRA fits into and shapes the young professional experience. With us, we have Veronica Sanchez. Veronica currently works as an intern with the Program Implementation Unit at ADRA International. With a background in international studies and public health, she is pursuing a master's degree in clinical mental health. Her goal is to combine her passion for humanitarian work and holistic wellness while exploring new ways to connect people. She enjoys living one day at a time, reading a good book, and discovering new ways to stay physically active. And she also loves talking about her pet bunny, which I think is fantastic because I love animals as well. Veronica, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you with us.
Hello. Thank you for having me today, Emily and Tino. It's nice to be here.
Veronica, you are relatively new to ADRA. You've just been with ADRA interning with us for several months. Can you tell us what drew you to ADRA and what the experience has been like so far?
Yes, I would love to. So I think like many of us, well, not all of us, but I think the majority of us, I learned about ADRA from church. And although I can't specifically, at the time I didn't make the connection, but I decided to major in international studies and public health when I was an undergrad. And I think it was mostly because of ADRA. I would have loved to have been an intern during that time in undergrad, but it just wasn't financially viable for me to apply because it would have required me to move to Silver Springs, and I just couldn't. And after that, I wasn't able to apply. I didn't qualify because I wasn't pursuing a degree. I wasn't in undergrad or in my master's degree. And the Lord knew that this was a dream for me, and I continued to, throughout the years, look for different job postings to see if I could apply for anything. And for the most part, I didn't qualify, but I still wanted to stay connected to that dream. So I remember one day I decided to add a bunch of people on LinkedIn from ADRA just to stay connected to that dream. And then one of the first things I did when I finally made it into my master's program was to apply to the ADRA internship. And it worked out, specifically the part of adding a lot of people from ADRA on LinkedIn, because I found one person there that was posting about the internship and letting everybody know, hey, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I felt like that was God just really giving me an opportunity to connect with somebody and ask questions, since I didn't feel all that confident about my application and I was scared of applying and finding out that I couldn't work unless I moved. But shout out to Alex Hirata. Super nice, looked over my LinkedIn account, pointed out all of the experience that was relevant to mention in my application. Yeah, that was my first introduction to ADRA. I applied, I got the interview. My interview was honestly fantastic. I feel like the people that I interviewed with took an experience that was, normally nerve-wracking and made it into one that was much more comfortable and personable. And then I poured out my heart in prayer because I really wanted this opportunity after all these years, and I finally got it. And so far, the experience has been truly amazing. Honestly, it has been God sent, in my opinion.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So you've had your eye on ADRA for a while now. I'm so glad that you kept pursuing and made your way here finally. That's so exciting, and congratulations for making it here and getting what you were hoping for. So you had mentioned it already. We understand that you are a current student who is in the process of getting a master's degree in clinical mental health. And as someone who is still a student, we realize that ADRA may not be the final destination for where your career lands you. But with that said, can you share with us a little bit how you see this time with ADRA shaping your overall career, regardless of whether or not that includes working for ADRA in the future?
Yes, thank you, Emily, for that question. I have, I guess, several ideas in my mind about how ADRA has helped shape my overall career. I think the first thing would be is that it helped solidify the conviction that I have to work in this field. I think that as a young professional, you kind of have an idea of what you want to do, but you don't really know by experience what that really looks like. Everything is just in theory. So after being able to work with ADRA, I think I have, I guess I know that I want to work in this space. Another thing is that it's kind of set a new standard for me when it comes to work culture, supervision, and also, I guess, teamwork. I feel like from what I've witnessed, ADRA really tries to embody its values, which is something that I really appreciate. I remember one of the first weeks that I was here learning about the program exchange forum and what it was all about. And the first thing that came to mind was like, wow, ADRA is really trying to stay connected, just like they said they would, or just like they said that they value. And then another thing is, I guess, a new standard when it comes to the type of supervisor that you work with. I feel like I was given a fantastic supervisor that really provided a space that was healthy and balanced enough for both growth and grace. Somebody that really, I feel that poured into me, and just made this experience really a pleasant one, honestly. And I hope that one day I have the opportunity to do the same for somebody else. And also my office buddy. I have an office buddy, and that made a world of a difference too. I don't know if everybody's assigned an office buddy or if it's just because we're remote, but my office buddy was also incredibly kind, supportive, and compassionate. So shout out to Alejandra and Deborah, my supervisor. And also the interns. This is the first time that I've gotten to work with such a like an amazing group of interns that was so willing from the very beginning to work together and to uplift one another. And then I guess finally also getting to understand better what some of my strengths and weaknesses are. I discovered that I really like connecting people, and I appreciated meeting people that share similar qualities as myself. And I mean that I'm more of an introverted, shy person, and I've always considered that, I guess, or I've struggled with that, you know? But it's been beautiful to see people in leadership that also identify as being more introverted and shy, and just seeing how they have still managed to blossom beautifully and acquire, I guess, admirable leadership skills and built beautiful relationships with people as well.
That was so lovely to hear, Veronica. I was really just smiling hearing you speak about all of the positive interactions that you had with several people at ADRA and how all of that helped to solidify your desire to work in international development. And I'm sure so many people will be smiling to hear that they made a positive impact on you that makes you want to make a positive impact on others as well. But in addition to shaping your career, can you describe to us some of your own contributions that you've made to shaping us as ADRA? So, in other words, what are some of the contributions you've made during your time with ADRA? And are there aspects of your ongoing training in clinical mental health or even other aspects of your academic or personal background that you feel have best prepared you to make a contribution to the work that organizations like ADRA do?
That is an excellent question. Well, during my time here, I've gotten to do all sorts of things from organizing our group of interns in order for us to, I guess, start working together. We weren't really assigned any project together, but I really wanted us to stay connected. So again, that goes to back to the question, the that last question, discovering what my strengths were, or some of my strengths. And I said that I really liked finding ways to connect people, and I still like finding ways to connect people. But so I was able to do that. I also worked on, I guess, my supervisor's portfolio, helping out reviewing reports, helping with meeting minutes. I was able to do work also with different units, helping out the meal unit, looking over the course that they're working on. Also supporting the HTLL. It took me a long time to mentally grasp what HTLLs are, but I think that those are wonderful initiatives.
One of the biggest things that you mentioned, Veronica, a couple of times was how you've learned to love to connect people and how you have kind of worked outside of your given tasks to connect the interns, for instance. I think that's a really awesome skill that often goes unrecognized, but that's an awesome skill that I think, ADRA really values and utilize in the future. And I think that's a skill that you're going to take with you wherever you go.
So, Veronica, speaking of influence, we would also like to hear your perspective on this. We commonly hear advice from seasoned employees to younger staff, but we don't often hear it the other way around. So, we would like to give you the chance to share your thoughts here. What suggestions do you have for those of us at ADRA who are more seasoned? As someone who is younger and is stepping into the workforce with newer and fresher perspectives and ideas, what changes do you think ADRA could incorporate so that we stay relevant and successful in the work that we do?
I think one of the ways that ADRA could incorporate more initiatives to stay relevant and successful in the work that you guys are currently doing is, I guess, creating more programs or initiatives that help young people get involved in the field, but preferably in I guess, a more accessible way. It's not always easy to break into this field, especially if you don't live in DC. So I think it's wonderful that this opportunity has been remote. To invest more in mentorship programs. I guess a lot of people are obviously busy. There's a lot of work to do, but I think that providing opportunity for, I guess, our colleagues in ADRA to provide mentorship to the younger generation is just, I guess, a mutually beneficial experience for everybody involved. And also to have more intern projects. I was able to do different projects within my unit, but it would have been also nice to do work with the interns just because it's nice to work with other people that are at your level and you're also able to learn from them as well. Those are just some of the things that I could think of.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts, Veronica. It's always great to hear what can be done to make things better and to be more relevant and successful in this world, in this industry. As our last question for you, we would like to ask what you hope to take away in the remainder of your internship with ADRA. I know you only have a very short while left with us, but any takeaways that you hope to gather in the remaining time here, as well as any advice that you may have to prospective ADRA interns?
Yes. Well, I feel like I've been able to take away what I was hoping to take away when I first started this experience, which was to be able to gain, I guess, real world experience, to be able to determine whether or not this was the field that I wanted to work with, and also where I wanted to work, because there are many different roles within this field, and you have to find the role that you are most interested in and that also suits your strengths. So I'm grateful to have been provided that space during my time here. And the main piece of advice I have for prospective ADRA interns is something that I've been thinking a lot about while I've been here, and it's the fact that embarrassment is the price of excellence. And I say that as a introverted, shy person. I don't think I would have been able to make it here if I hadn't been pushed by the Holy Spirit to do things that I traditionally would not have felt comfortable doing, such as adding people on LinkedIn that I didn't know, and also reaching out to the interns, reaching out to different people in the ADRA network for informational interviews. In the beginning, those were rough because I didn't really have the experience, but that was the price to pay in order to perfect the craft. So don't be embarrassed to do the uncomfortable things because they're necessary for us to grow.
On that note, thank you so much. I think that's a wonderful place to end, and wish you all the best with your career that's in front of you. Don't be a stranger. We look forward to hopefully working with you again soon.
Thank you both for having me here today.
If you would like to hear more career reflections from practitioners in health, nutrition, and WASH, or if you would like to learn about other topics regarding health, nutrition, and WASH, feel free to contact the Health Technical Learning Lab at healthtll@adra.org. That's healthtll@adra.org. To listen to other episodes of the HTLL podcast, please find us and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. We also now have a Spanish channel for HTLL episodes in Spanish. To check this out, search the HTLL podcast Espanol. Thanks for listening, and join us next time for another exciting episode on the HTLL podcast.